back to this week's episode of Roominate. This is still my room. Now, the question is, will I ever go back to the couch that I filmed the welcome episode in? The answer is yes. If anyone missed that couch and that layout, I will go back to it when it's not a heaping flame of rubbish. I was going through my entire closet trying to prepare for what clothes to bring to uni, and I have not recovered from that over there. So I will go back when I find the willpower to clear it. So sorry about that. I hope you still like the bed setting for now because that is what you're gonna get. Alright, so now let's get into this week's episode, and I hope you can hear me over the rain because I don't know if it's gonna be picked up on the mic, but it's raining really heavily. I cannot see a single thing outside. Anyway, I'm rambling, so let's get on to it. As you can tell from the title, I survived a pancreatic tumor, and specifically, it's called pancreatic fibrosis. It is a medical condition that's not subjected to just on the pancreas, like a fibrosis. It's just a cyst or tumor in general. It can happen in any part of the inside of your body, basically, but mine was on the pancreas. And at the time, we didn't know if it was cancerous. Hang on, let me come closer to you to talk about this because I feel like we're getting a little bit closer together. I am so thankful for the new subscribers, by the way. I woke up one day and I had 6 new subscribers. That's pretty cool. Thank you for coming with me. I don't know why my tripod is shaking a little bit. Pancreatic fibrosis, it's very uncommon for my age. Or actually, it's very uncommon in general. That's what I was told. So I don't know how I got it. It could have been genetics, it also could have been lifestyle. But I don't know anyone in my family that has pancreatic cancer except for one uncle who isn't biologically related to me. The period of time in my life that I found out I had this tumor was one of the worst moments of my life. And I think I've said something similar in my previous episode where I talked about my first heartbreak and whatever. No, this was that rock bottom's rock bottom. Because I went through so many things at the time. I found out I had gone through a really tough period of unemployment, like job hunting like crazy and not hearing anything back. It drives you mad after like only a few days. It doesn't take that long to drive you mad, to be honest. Job hunting is just like that. And then on top of that, I was experiencing a friendship breakup, and the friendship breakup happened one day before I found uh, the tumor. Let's get into that. What happened was I experienced roughly 5 months of symptoms prior to like the tumor. I didn't know that they were symptoms, and it was only gradually getting worse. So I would say 5 months is more of an estimation, but it should have been around 5 months because I really don't know how long I had been feeling this way actually. I normalized it very early on, so it took an extra long time to find out that actually something really was wrong with me. But aside from that, I was like the symptoms were chronic nausea, chronic vomiting, chronic bloatedness. At first, it was like after a full meal. A lot of my friends they get bloated quite frequently, so I excused it to maybe I'm just feeling bloated. It's completely normal, especially in women, right? It only got worse when I started to feel like vomiting. But I hate the feeling of vomiting, so I would suppress it. And I knew that it wasn't an eating disorder because I was feeling mentally sound in my own body. But as it slowly got worse and worse, my breaking point was probably after one day. I remember in China, I was eating a chocolate cake. I had wanted to try this cake from this cafe in a really long time. Immediately after taking 2 bites, I went to the toilet and threw up as much as I could. And my friend who was with me was like, this is not normal. When you go home, when you fly back, you need to see a doctor about this. And they clocked me so quick. I was quite, someone outside of my head actually thought that this wasn't normal as well. But I wasn't sure if it was or not because I didn't ever think that I could voice it out to anyone and anyone would relate. At one point, I did think that I was over exaggerating or I was being dramatic, feeling this way when I knew that I was just doing normal things that normal people were doing. So I was quite hard on myself in that aspect where I thought you shouldn't even be feeling this way. How dare you? don't mention it to anyone. Like, that was a thought that was going through my head when I was feeling this way. And I was thinking everyone has their own struggles in their life, their own problems. It's already bad enough that I feel like this. I can't go out and make someone else feel this way as well, talking about my thing. So I kept it to myself for quite a few months. Only when it got really, really bad that I asked my friends, hey, does anyone else feel this way after eating? And they were like, no, I think it's slightly concerning. I thought that those symptoms would only have physical repercussions, like the feeling of bloated and nausea, but it also had mental effects as well. When I was feeling okay in my body, suddenly I was not. I started to feel really depressed and felt like there was something innately wrong with me, and I didn't deserve being around other people. I don't know how else to say that, but it was quite taxing to be stuck in my flesh prison, feeling this way, and also thinking if I came in contact with another person, it doesn't even have to be through physical contact. It could be just breathing the same air as them in the same room. I'm gonna transfer all these nasty, icky feelings to them. So I better stay by myself. That was what I was going through at the time. Then I had a friendship breakup that happened. During that period of time, that friendship breakup really made me think, okay, everything I felt with these symptoms is true. Like, it validated that. Yeah, so that was really a hard point of my life. And the friendship breakup happened also in the middle of my grandfather's memorial dinner. And I just kept feeling like, wow, someone must have upped the misfortune meter on my life by accident or something and like maxed it out. Because what was that? What actually was that? I think about it sometimes and I laugh now, but it was definitely not funny back then. And the next day, I had to go to the A&E because I didn't eat anything, and yet I was constantly heaving and I couldn't leave the toilet. So I told my mom, okay, I think there's something really wrong. I probably need to go to A&E. So she sent me to the A&E and we stayed there for like the entire night. When I came out with a schedule, like an emergency schedule appointment to see a gastroenterologist, as well as do like an endoscopy and a CT scan. So the endoscopy just goes down your throat and just kind of looks through your stomach and sees like what's up. There wasn't anything inherently wrong with my stomach, but they did see that there was something behind the stomach that was protruding, like pressing into my stomach. So there was like a little bump there where the wall should have just been like flat, if that makes sense. I'm trying to paint you a visual picture, but I hope I'm doing well with this. Anyway, yeah, so they saw like the bump underneath it, and one thing to note is that your pancreas is behind your stomach. If you didn't know that, so that was probably what the tumor was. And then it only picked up on the CT scan because the CT scan is a cross section of your whole body, right? They found that it was 4 by 4 cm. I don't actually like going for CT scans. I don't think anyone does because they make you drink this full bottle of like clear liquid that looks like water prior to your appointment, but it's actually some kind of dye that helps to see like your insides better in the machine. And it was so trippy. I really didn't like drinking that, especially feeling I was feeling after even just small sips or small bites, right? So that was torturous for me. I had to lie there with the drip and everything and go through the machine. It was so noisy. Oh my god. After this whole experience, I probably will do my best to take care of myself such that I won't ever have to be in a similar situation again, so I can avoid CT scans. Please. After the CT scan, we saw a doctor a few days later with the results and said that, oh, you probably need to get surgery to remove this soon, and we cannot tell if it's going to be cancerous or not until we do a biopsy. I had two options. Either they do a keyhole surgery where they take a little bit out first, run a test on it, or I just find out after it's removed through the surgery that I'm supposed to take in the first place. Obviously, I just said, why waste money and time on both? Just do it after you remove it. And they told me to get it scheduled as quickly as possible, because even though we don't know if it's life endangering or not, it was probably best because of my age to get it done. Okay, sure, we'll do it January of 2024. Around this time also, I had rushed a uni application. So I applied to a local uni to study psychology, but I had been feeling really off about it prior to this, like prior to even knowing that I was sick. It felt like I had rushed things. I felt pressured by my friends around me to speed up my healing journey from wanting to move on from being a designer. So I rushed that, and I didn't even know if it was gonna be a real passion of mine, because truly I think that psychology is interesting. I think that I have a firm grasp on being an armchair psychologist sometimes just for fun, and you know, getting a read on people is quite easy to me because I'm a very empathetic person, and I also like to connect with people on a very deep level. Most of my connections with my friends, my family, they run deep. Human connection is very important to me, and it's something that I'm passionate about. But am I passionate in a way where I want to turn that into work? And my answer was very indecisive on that. I don't like applying for big life plans with uncertainty. If there's one freaky thing about me, it's that I only apply for a singular option for every educational stage in my life. I don't have a plan B, I don't have a second option or third. I just go for the one. I only apply for things with certainty, except for this one uni application. My secondary school was my only option. My poly course and the school of choice was a singular option as well. I did not have a second or third option in my EAE application. So when I applied for this uni, I thought, am I betraying the way I usually do these things? Should I have just done this with uncertainty? I got the negative end of that, because I think now that I've gone through so much in life, I believe that doing things with uncertainty should be encouraged more. But this period of time where I applied and got into that uni of psychology, I felt too much uncertainty after I was accepted in my gut. This isn't for me. So when I got the news to get surgery for my tumor, and I knew that I was gonna go through a long recovery process, I knew, okay, I don't think I want to go for this uni, so I rejected the offer. I had a friend that couldn't understand why I did that, even after I said that in my gut feeling it didn't feel like it was something that I wanted to do in life, and I don't want to waste that much money, especially because uni fees they're not cheap. Like, education isn't cheap. I didn't want to waste time doing something that I didn't even know if I wanted to do later on in life. And I don't think they really understood that in full. Like, let's get to the real thing, okay? For my surgery, it was predicted to be just under an hour long. Just a simple keyhole, like remove half of my pancreas, stitch it up, and then I'll be alright. But there was a complication. I don't know why they didn't really check properly before that. They had taken my blood test, and I thought that it would show up that I'm anemic and dehydrated because I couldn't eat properly or drink or like consume anything in general. But they had given me the green light to go in. But the dehydration level that I had created a problem where my heart actually stopped. So I had to be resuscitated. I was dead for 2 minutes. They had to deflate my lung to get the heart restarted. So when I came out of the surgery after, I didn't know that they had done that until I was less lucid and more like conscious of what was going on around me. They told me that I'm gonna have a lot of problems breathing on my own, so I need physiotherapy to help with that after. But I didn't know that I flatlined. I found out through my best friend. My best friend at the time was living with us because she had come back from uni, living vicariously through my mom, who was giving her updates about my recovery in the hospital. Because she had work, so she told me that my mom came home one day and was so casual about it. She just said, "Oh yeah, she had to be resuscitated, and now she's in the ICU, but I'm sure things will be alright soon. She just broke down. She broke down crying, obviously, and was like, "What's going on?" Like she couldn't understand why my mom was so nonchalant about it. But I don't think my mom was nonchalant. She was. It's just the way that it was delivered. You just had to be there. Yeah, I wish I could see the look on her face when she did that. But when I came out of the ICU, I was all right. I was calling her and I was calling all my friends and I was saying, "Hey, I'm okay." Like completely oblivious to the fact that I flatlined. Honestly, I tried to think back to during the time I was unconscious. I was wondering if I even had any kind of lucid dream or what during that period of time I flatlined. I wish I could remember what happened because I don't remember a single thing. Maybe a like fragments of a dream, but nothing that significant that I can remember. I'm so sorry if anyone was curious about that, but I really don't remember a single thing. The recovery was pretty tough at the start. I didn't realize that relearning how to walk after being like horizontal for many days at a time was gonna be that hard. And they trained my motor skills again, like passing around a ball of yarn I brought to crochet during my free time was gonna be hard as well. And then I had to do that inflating of the lungs thing, like relearn how to take deep breaths and let it out. They had a meter, like this cylinder that I was supposed to blow into, and then they would measure how much I can blow in at a time. That was hard. That was the hardest part because I was so frustrated with suddenly like being able to take in a small amount and then my lung will completely deflate and then I'll go that was interesting. The rare human experience that I hope I never have to experience again. The hospital, it was actually going to cost extra if one of my family members or friends wanted to sleep over for the night with me. I just told them like, oh, I probably don't need anyone, even though the hospital room was super creepy at night. I don't want them to waste like $100 a night just to sleep on the couch. That's ridiculous. At night, the way it was so creepy, I don't think I got a decent rest. I would wait until about 4 a.m. and there was a TV in my room, thank God. I would turn it on, and at 4 a.m. every day on AXN, I think, they would play American Ninja Warrior. That was surprisingly interesting. I really enjoyed watching people like run courses like that. Some of them I really thought they were gonna make it and then they were wiped out in the first obstacle course. And then there was one day they played Black Adam on TV. I was so bored that day. I tried my best to watch that movie because that was the only form of entertainment I had. I could not stand it, even though I was so bored and I had no other option. I could not watch that show. It's ass. It's ass. Sorry. Overall, I recovered well. I'm completely fine now. I do have a scar here because when all hell broke loose in the operation room, they had to move from a keyhole surgery to like completely just opening me up. I am trying to fade that because it's a bit embarrassing, or at least it's a bit. I feel quite insecure about it if I go to the beach or if I wear crop tops. But it's a part of who I am. It reminds me of that time and it reminds me that whatever I'm going through, it could have been worse. I feel weird because I literally got reborn during that period of time, right? I went through so much and that part of me died with all that I went through before the operation. Now I have this new appreciation for life that I never had before. When I was 16, I remember thinking and telling all my friends, I'm not gonna get married. I don't think anyone's ever gonna love me like that. I'm probably not gonna live past the age of like 17 or 18 because what is life beyond that? Like that was a complete mystery to me that was unattainable at the time, in my eyes at least. And now that I am approaching my mid 20s, there's this newfound appreciation of life that I have that came post operation. And it's strange and it's liberating. I am a completely different person I was at the time where I let these people walk over me. And now I've come to the realization that that is something that I don't have time for. Literally, because time is precious when you've already died once, right? When I was going through that friendship breakup, I felt like I was probably the worst friend in the world. This friend had built up frustrations about me during that period of time that I was feeling the depressive episode and feeling the symptoms of the tumor. When I left that conversation and I went through finding out about my tumor without that friend, I had shown my best friend the conversation that was had between me and this person. I told them this is someone I look up to very greatly. I used to admire this person a lot. I thought they were one of the most intelligent, one of the most emotionally aware people that I've ever come across. I thought they were going to be here my whole life to grow together with. So when this happened, it was a huge shock that genuinely made me feel like, okay, this is definitely not something that they would have done unless it was completely my fault. So I showed my best friend the conversation, and I told them I know that I have every fault in this. And when they looked at the conversation, they were really appalled that that was what I thought. My best friend said that while I do have some faults in this situation, they also have their own faults that they didn't want to admit to, even though I voiced out how they had made me feel in the past. It's very hard to switch how I feel about someone, because when I care for someone or when you've become a part of my close circle in life, the loyalty and the pedestal that I put you on is very strong, very high. Okay, maybe not pedestal, I would say I regard you very highly. I look up to you as well as just wish all the best for you. And this person really stomped all over that. I took it as my problem, I took it as my fault. This person, in my mind, because of the way that I've held regard for them, was something that could not be shaken. So it must have been other sources aside from them to react this way. Last year, I made a promise to myself never to let anyone walk over me like that ever again. And I got to do really amazing things last year after I recovered. I got to travel to Australia with my best friends. We actually filmed a yapping session. If you guys want to see that, like just for fun, I might post that soon. But the life experiences that I had gone through last year were so incredible, so gut-wrenching, so breathtaking at the same time. I just wish that my 16-year-old self could have seen this. I'm even just excited to experience the next day. I go to sleep and I am excited for what tomorrow has to bring for me. I'm excited for to every time I see a friend ask me like, hey, it's been a while, like, do you want to catch up? Things like that. Sometimes I do think to myself, what did I do to deserve this? What did I do to deserve a second chance at life? I used to think that I wasn't deserving of anything. I would go through these periods of being so grateful for the opportunities that I've had, or just even being able to buy like a snack across the road. Life is tough. Money is hard to come by these days. The fact that I can even go across and get something I want to eat was a level of privilege that I was aware of that I had. Sometimes I did think that I didn't deserve my privilege, and I would do everything I can to help out other people who don't have the same opportunities, who don't have the same outlets as me. It is quite heartbreaking to really watch all that happen and sit comfortably in my room where I have an aircon, I have stuffed toys, and I have my own phone. It's made me hyper aware of my lifestyle and also hyper aware of the things I have. While I am grateful for, I also do ask myself a lot whether or not I deserve this. It's something that I'm still going through every now and then. I recently just got a new laptop, the new MacBook Air M4 chip. I didn't realize how much emotion I would go through just getting that laptop alone. It's not paid for by me. A very generous soul offered to pay for it for me. I am using a over 10-year-old computer that's breaking down on me constantly, and now that I'm about to start uni, this person offered to pay for like the newest laptop in the market for me, which for that I'm grateful for, but it's a huge expense, especially on your own, let alone to give someone else. There is a level of stress I felt when the money was transferred to me and I bought this MacBook myself, because while I am so grateful for it, I felt like I was way too privileged going to the Apple store and buying it and walking out with it. I was wondering if I really needed it or if it was an extra cost that I really did not have to make this person get for me. Situations like this, they often highlight to me how I want to live my life. Like, am I living my life the way I want to? Am I living the life where I'm seizing every single opportunity I can? I feel like a life where it's centered just around my own needs and my own wants is a life that's slightly wasted. I find it makes me feel closer to becoming whole when I help people. I That is one of the biggest things that I love to do. That's my love language. I like to be a listening ear to friends around me. I like to give people company when they very much need it. So when I do things for myself, like get this laptop that logistically I really do need a new laptop, but it felt like such a selfish act on my end. It really did highlight the fact that I really don't know my own self-worth, like what I deserve exactly. It's a dangerous thing to start feeling this way when you start to feel like you don't deserve certain things or you are not worthy of certain things. Your value becomes someone else's to make of you. While I'm struggling with this myself, I also don't like the fact that gives other people power over me. It's something that I'm trying to change this year, especially. If you're on the same path as me, let's lock in together, because I think the biggest debate I had for whether or not I am worthy of these things came with the recovery process from my surgery. The doctors actually gave us a rough estimate of the entire cost of things before, but because of all the complications that I went through, it was 4 times the amount that they had estimated for us. My family is not financially stable. When that news broke, it shook me a little bit. I just felt more like a burden than anything to my parents, who really didn't deserve to go through all that, not just like mental stress but also financial stress over me. Why did this medical issue that is mine alone have to affect other people that way, other people that I care about? I don't have that power to give back to them yet. I hope that this podcast gets somewhere, so that I can make some money off it and I can give back to them the way that they've taken care of me my whole life. And now that I'm going to uni, I want to let them know how much I appreciate them and everyone else around me, and how I want to use my degree, the opportunity I have to even study overseas that I never thought I actually would have, to benefit the people in my life, to let them know that their sacrifices for me, the work that they put in for my life, is not wasted. And that gives me comfort that I will be doing something whole. This year is going to be a year full of wholesome things, and that makes me feel whole. And that's what I will be focusing on as the year progresses. I hope that this can also help me to just document and see how far I've come this year. I know it's still April. I know it's new. I have faith that this can go somewhere. I hope that you enjoyed this week's episode. I know it's not a typical one. I just wanted to share my experiences, and thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.